with God. I was shameful. I had self-blame and guilt. I used to drink. I used to beat up people for no reason at all. And I had an anxiety. That's what you're looking at right now. I'm not going to preach. I'm just going to share my story. That's what you're looking at. And I was going to church in the house of God. I was shouting, running the aisle, but I had anger and I had rage. I was so mad with God, I didn't know what to do. So I'm going to come to you, slow it down just a little bit. I'm going to come to you from the voice of a mother who was never allowed to speak because of the people in the house of God.
Say that.
The voice of a mother who was never allowed to speak because of the people in the house of God. I'm not coming at you spiritual, not coming at you as evangelist. I'm coming at you from the voice of a mother. So some of you may not like how I used to feel, but I'm going to be transparent on today.
That's right.
In 1995, July the 16th, coming from the voice of a mother, not evangelist, my son was murdered. Or some people may say killed. But from the voice of a mother, my son was killed, was murdered. I went to church. Well, my mother, she had like a prayer session. And the Lord used me in the prophetic. And I was just going on and going on. I surprised myself. I didn't know God wanted to use me like that. So then our church had a shut-in, an all-night shut-in. I went to the shut-in at the church I used to go to, and I found myself on the altar, just travailing before God. I didn't know why. God, I surrender myself. I give up everything. I'm determined to live right. I'm determined to do right. But I didn't know it was going to cost me something. Everybody in there was asleep. I was the loudest one in there, still praying, still travailing before God. I came home. We stayed with other people like a family friend, and I slept in the floor, and I had my son, and I had my daughter. I laid in the middle of the floor when I got home, placed my hands like a regular routine, and prayed for him. In the middle of the night, my son hollered. I mean, he just screamed in his sleep. And it scared me so bad, I just took my hand and I covered him in the spirit. Because as a mother, I just knew that the death angel was over his life, was trying to come after him. You might not understand it, but you know the difference between your child's scream, and you know when it's a fear. He never woke up, and I put my hand over him, and I was so afraid. I just really felt like the devil was trying to take him that night, and I covered him. Well, that weekend, my mother had to go to New Jersey to preach. So when I was leaving, I kissed my daughter goodbye, and I kissed my son goodbye. He didn't want to kiss me. He kept saying, Mom, don't go. Mom, don't go. And I said, come on, Mommy, love you. Give Mommy a kiss. He would not kiss me. He kept crying and crying because he did not want me to go. Well, we went on up to Jersey, make a long story short. And as we went to Jersey, I had a dream of my best friend. She was pregnant at the time. And I had a dream that her daughter was out they were on the boat going fishing, and her daughter drowned, but she hadn't had this baby. The daughter drowned. I immediately got up and covered this child that hadn't been born. Didn't know whether it was going to be a girl or whether it was a guy. But I covered it, and I told her, I said, it made me so nervous, I didn't know what was going on. So we got up, we went out to eat. As we went out to eat, we came back. We actually made another turn while everybody else went to the hotel. And we came back, and my father came over to the car, and he said, Michelle, I need you to get out of the car. The voice of a mother. I said, Dad, what? And I got out the car. I'm playful because I don't know what's going on. And he said, one of the kids died. I said, what? One of the kids died. I started hollering. I started screaming. I fell out. I really was broken. One of the kids, I didn't know which kid. They didn't know which kid. We just got the word that one of the kids died from the heat. So my dad had to pick me up and took me into the hotel where everybody was at, and all of the church people that went to this function were in there praying. There was this woman, this pastor, I'll never forget it. She came in, everybody was jammed up in this little room, and she prayed, and she said, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. And I felt my spirit man just settling and getting peace. They packed up everybody. We got in the van and we went home. I'm not quite sure what time it was, but we were going down the highway, heading back to Seaford, and it was dark at that time. And still, I'm riding back to Delaware, not knowing which one of my kids have died. I don't know which one. And I'm sitting up there, well, if it's my son, he'll be okay. If it's my daughter, she'll be okay. I'm mentally going through because I don't know which kid died. And all of a sudden, we hit Seaford, and something on the inside of my stomach like just jammed up because now I'm in the town where it happened. I have to, this is my first time ever sharing this story since 95, ever. So we get to the hospital. No, I'm sorry, we on the way to Seaford, and all of a sudden I closed my eyes because I'm crying. And I said, Mom, it's Rick. I said, because I just seen him. And he was saying, Mommy, I'm okay. Mommy, I'm okay. My mother turned around and looked at me. She said, Shell, she said, I just seen him flying around as an angel saying, my mom, look at me. My mom, look at me. My mom, look at me. So as we get to the hospital, now in the spirit realm, we realize it's my son. We don't know in the natural, but in the spirit realm, we get to the hospital, and I'm jumping around a lot, but we went to the hospital. Everybody had already been to the hospital. I think from maybe 3 o'clock, we get there after 12. So everybody got a chance to go through all this stuff. We coming in on the end. We walk into the hospital. I'm nervous, I'm shaking because I want to see my son. And they tell us that, you know, it was my son, but I was not allowed to see my son at that moment. My son just died. I could not see him. We turn around, we go home. I go to my parents' house. As we're going to my parents' house, there's people all in the house waiting for us. We get in there. There's my daughter. She's running around. And my daughter is hollering, Mommy, the guy, I'm not going to say his name, the guy killed Rick. I'm sorry. The guy punched Rick in the stomach. And she just kept saying it over and over and over. He punched Rick in the stomach. He punched Rick in the stomach. And I'm confused because my son died from the heat. But my daughter is saying, Rick got punched in the stomach. So we're sitting in there, and everybody's in there and eating and everything. I need to go outside for a minute because I don't know how to swallow this. And my daughter is saying he got hit. So I just let that go. I go outside. As I go outside, I'm trying to get myself together. I've always been a loud person, speak my mind. I'm walking through the yard. And as I walk through the yard, I see my son's yellow Tonka toy trunk. And as I go over to it, I just fell on the ground and I hollered and I screamed and I could not get that toy out of my hand because to me that was the last thing that I had. So they had to come out there and pull me, like literally pull me away from that toy. As I go back and now all of a sudden I'm on shutdown mode because I don't know what to say. This is the part I wanted to say. As a mother, I just lost my child. People were coming in, calling themselves ministering to me. Don't cry. Be strong. Don't let the enemy know that you're broken. Don't let the enemy know that he got you. Don't shed a tear because you look weak. You know, because the enemy might think you look weak. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to do. This never happened. So I'm gripping myself, trying to get myself together. And I heard it over and over and over. Now, the friends that I hung out with, they weren't spiritual. So when it happened, my friends went and got drunk. And they're all angry. Remember, I was angry. They're all angry. They're wanting to fight. These are the people who were ministering to me. Anger and rage, and that's what was going into my spirit. My parents had pastor friends. So their pastor friends were coming to the house ministering to them on a spiritual level. I'm left out. Nobody's ministering to me spiritual because they think I'm okay because I'm not crying now. I'm not emotional. The saints just told me not to cry. The saints just told me not to be broken. So their friends did not minister to me on that level because I looked okay. So the funeral comes. We get to the funeral. I'm sorry, the layout comes. And I did not get to see my son until the layout that day. And then there was a layout. I come in. And I bend down, I'm kissing my son, and I'm looking at it. He's in his white suit. I move his arms back, because, I'm kissing. This is the last time. And I see these bruises on his face. So what in the world? So now I'm investigating as a mother would do. I'm pulling back the white suit, and I see black and blue bruises on his arm. Now 2 and 2 is adding up. This is why at the hospital, they would not let me see my son, because my son had been bruised. This is the layout. So now I've got that in my mind. I've got what the church people said in my mind. My brothers and sisters are looking at me. I feel like I need to be strong, because if I break, they'll break. So I had so much on my shoulder. Go to the funeral, remembering what the spirit people said. I praise, I rejoice. That sadness, that anger, all that stuff, I've done pushed down. I've done learned to push it down. So people are looking at me. People are looking at our family, so I have to have it together. Funeral's over with. Next day, I get a call from the mother. This is quote. I said, hello? We did not kill your son. Oh, yes, we beat him. He kept trying to cry, and he kept foaming from the mouth, and when he was falling over the toilet, I was trying to get him to sit up, and he's hollering and screaming. He was doing this white stuff coming out of his mouth. Yes, we put him in the room and beat him. Now it's the hottest day of the summer. We put him in the room and we beat him, but we did not kill him. This is what she's saying on the phone. All I said was hello. By that time, I'm hollering, I'm screaming, and I'm not saying good words, and my mother comes out, what happened? And I told her what this woman just said. My mother immediately said, call the detective, call the police officer. I called it, or she called him, I don't know which one called him. But when we called, we found out that the police and them were already going to investigate this thing as a homicide. Now, what happened to him dying because of the heat? Something else is going on. So we went to court. We went to what was it? We went to see the detectives. We went over to court for it, and we had to let them know what happened over and over and over. They brought my daughter. I think at that time she was 4 years old, and she was a key witness to this murder. And they're asking her, she's saying the same thing over and over. Different people coming in over and over, and they're recording her over and over and over. They're saying she's persistent in everything that she's saying. I don't know all that happened. Matter of fact, I really don't know anything that happened. It's 2015. I'm still asking questions. So she's in there. We go to court. I don't know whether they pulled her up or the judge seen it on the video. I'm not real sure, because I'm jumping through a lot of stuff. But as we were going through trial for a year, a whole year, this thing was the whole community. Some people, we would come out of court, they're picking it. Free him, free him. Then you got other people, taken to jail. So we come out of court, and all these people in the yards with picket fences. And I'm looking like, what's going on? This was the catcher. We had Channel 16 News, Channel 47. Every time we came out, they were right there with cameras. I wanted, as a mother, to say what Michelle wanted to say, how I felt. I wanted him hurt. I wanted something to happen to him. I wanted him arrested. This is the mother, no spiritual, nothing. What they did was took the microphone, gave it to my parents, or somebody gave it to one of my parents. I was not allowed to speak then, even then, because we're good Christians. Because their church people taught them, because they didn't know, and then the church people were telling me what to do. So this whole time, I'm not allowed to get in the mic and say what I want, because Shell wants him hurt. So I learned to cover that up and to hide my pain for a whole year. Well, we're in the court, and the people in the court are trying to say, his lawyer said that I killed my son, said that I was an unfit mother. Mind you, I was not there. But I'm the one that everything went and circled around Michelle. So then when the court and everything is over with, now I'm underneath all this pressure. I'm thinking, if I do anything wrong, then the state is going to try to take my daughter, because they're saying I'm an unfit mother. So I'm going and I'm operating even in the church, not showing my pain because of the church people, not showing my anger because